Hello and welcome to the Jumpcast, and today we are doing our kind of version of a breakdown of the gaming showcase, and I will just give you a bit of information on exactly how we've done it. So we've gone into a document, and we've all scored on between 1 and 5 on if we like the game, and then if we would buy the game. So games that we're interested in and we'd read upon, and another score for if we'd actually purchase that game ourselves. And we've rated it between 1 and 5. So everyone gets 1 to 5 scores. And there are 6 of us. So we've got me, Blue Fox, who's also in the podcast right now. Say hello, Blue Fox.
Hello, it's always a pleasure to be here.
Brilliant, and we love having you here as well. We've missed you after the past 2 months, by the way. We've also got Camazoid, who's also in the podcast.
Yep.
He's given his scores.
It's always good to be back.
And then Danny Lewis, who is our podcast kind of person who organizes everything, but he never attends, but yeah, still. And then we've also got Jay, who was able to give their scores for the ratings. So they've had a chance to score. And then we've also had Alwood as well, who he has scored, but he obviously isn't here. Danny and Alwood have had pre-recordings, so you will hear from them a bit later on in the podcast. But right now, live, we're going to do the top 35 games that we feel that have been announced. We've scored them, we've baselined their scores, and we're going to say them in order of their placements. And the lowest score, or the one with the most numbers, which is, so the lower the score, the better. So so we'll start with around 49, and we'll go and build into that game. And every now and again, we'll go to a game that we've mentioned as a team that we've highlighted, and we've gone, we should probably talk about certain games. So certain games we'll take a pause, and we'll talk about those games a bit more. So, okay, does everybody understand?
Yes, sir.
Brilliant.
Yeah, I got it.
And if you don't understand, you'll get used to it really quickly. So let's begin. And you know what? Let's just give a round. So until we get to the first build up, Camazoid, do you want to mention the first number 35 and then 34?
All right, then. We're going to start off from the end of the list, which is another update on Fortnite Wildlands, which honestly I don't care about. Fortnite is so big, so much to the point that I don't give a damn anymore.
Does it surprise you?
Yeah.
Just as a quick question, does it surprise you that Optimus Prime is in it, considering he's got a movie this year?
No. Does it surprise you that we have now anime characters in a game? You can actually have Kratos fighting with Goku. It doesn't surprise me. Anyone could be in Fortnite, literally. So
anyone could be in Fortnite. That's why it gets 35th place.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
So
I
don't care anymore. No matter what character, everybody's going to be in Fortnite. In the year 2099 or 2074, Fortnite's going to be still a thing. Everyone, even probably you and Blue Fox, perhaps they're going to do a huge update. Will be in the game. For me now on Fortnite, everybody's in the game. So I don't care anymore. Moving on.
Me, Camazoid, and Blue Fox are in the game of Fortnite.
Yeah. I
Number
believe in the
34.
future, but I don't care anymore. Anyway, moving on to the next game, another game that honestly I don't care. I don't have any information on. ParkBeyond. I hope it's a good game, but honestly. And now, and a little bit of an interesting thing in the list. We've got Sword of the Sea, and from what I'm seeing, Blue Fox, you seem to be a little bit interested in this game.
I am. It sounds extremely interested, and the looks of it are remarkable. It's not just because I've done a video about deserts in video games, which of course it does have a little effect on me, but from the same creators as Journey, I mean, how can I not say no to this game? It looks charming. It's more like of an artistic work rather than, a video game that you play. But, some games have these different feelings. So, why not? I'm willing to give it a chance.
All right. I did understand from what you said about this game. It looks looks and gives off the feels same as Journey. And someone played the Journey. I'm not into those kind of games, but it was really a good game. So I do see that it's very well, maybe not very, but in the art style and the environment, it is a bit similar to Journey.
It's from the
Yeah.
same creators, if I'm not
Okay, now
mistaken.
Okay, just to be clear to the people that are listening to this podcast right now, just as a little bit of information, who people that don't know or haven't seen the trailer, Sword of the Sea, is it on water?
No, that's the joke. It's the sand.
oh, fair enough. The next game is something a bit controversial for me because I was really mad and disappointed at the announcement, Ubisoft. So the next game is Prince of Persia: The Last Crown. Yes, the trailer looked good, but no, this is not what we want. This is not what me and I know and I believe many people wanted. We've all wanted a remake of the one of the three games of the PS2 era, Prince of Persia PS2 games. Those were one of the best games I've ever played. And instead of remaking those classic Prince of Persia games, Ubisoft had the idea of, oh, maybe I can just rebuild the whole franchise and do something new. And this, as much as this trailer looks good, I'm not interested. And the design and the new design for the main character, it doesn't look good. So I'm really disappointed at this announcement.
I'm gonna add here that Prince of Persia, you are messing around. You are messing around with a game series that has the height and potential of an Assassin's Creed level game. That's how well we know it. We'd rather a good game or a no game. We don't want a bad game. You can't make a bad game out of Prince of Persia. If you're doing Prince of Persia, it has to be good, or don't release it at all. That is the level of game you're messing with.
Exactly.
Do not ruin these games.
And Seb, to further on your point, it's not that just we want a good game. You literally you've got it easy. All you have to do is remake these classic games and just give them something new, make them look good, change a little bit on the gameplay, make them feel new and unique, and that's it. And everybody will buy these games because so many people played them back in the day and love them so much, including me. But then they decided to mess it up with that trailer back in last year when the year before, I don't know, when they showed that the trailer for the remake of a first Prince of Persia game, which looked absolutely horrible. And then who knows what happened to it? I think it might have gotten canceled, and instead of a remake, we got this, which is honestly, I am not excited for this game, and I don't even care about it.
If I may introduce another point of view, which I understand you're both points of view, but I would say that the game does show potential. It's of course extremely small scale in comparison to what it could be. That I agree fully. But at the same time, perhaps it would be a good idea to launch the series once more with a smaller game, just to reintroduce Prince of Persia as a home name, and then make a bigger game. You know, some franchises do this. They like to play a little bit around with smaller titles to play with mechanics, and then actually make a sequel. You know, with these mechanics implemented in a bigger scope. You know, we can imagine the first Assassin's Creed, for instance, was a Prince of Persia sequel / spin-off, and then the other games brought the franchise greater. So I'm not too pessimistic on this game. The gameplay looks fun at the very least, perhaps rough on the corners, but it's not too shabby.
Okay, I'm going to pin something right in, and then we're going to get with the next game, but I just want to pin something right in at the end there from what you just said. I do like sometimes when a game does do like a miniature game or something in between, just to gather what are the audience enjoying about a game. I feel like games like Mass Effect Andromeda did this type of thing, where they released a game, loads of people played it, everyone hated it, but some features in the game were good, and those features are probably the thing that BioWare took to note and are probably going to install them into the next game. If they do that, if that's the reason they released Andromeda, that's a good thing. If they released Andromeda trying to be a game, I think they completely failed. But if they did that just to get notes, I think that's a good thing. And if games do that, then that I'm absolutely fine. I will give them the good and bad marks because I want them to release good games. That's what we're here for. That's why these showcases are a thing. That's why we play our games, because we want to give to the developers the notes that we want as fans to recognize. I'm going to change it up a little bit. Blue Fox, could you do the next game?
Of course, up in our list, but still quite in the bottom, we have the DLC for Fallout 76 called Atlantic City. Myself, I really do not care about it because I do not have Fallout 76, so why would I buy the DLC? And of course, the game has changed throughout the years, so I've heard it's better than from when it launched, but again, I'm not quite interested in the title, so I really don't have
They
any
announced it
opinions
as a
about it.
music video for the Atlantic City update. It was kind of cheesy.
I forgot that part. To be honest, again, I really don't have any strong opinions because, I mean, I already have opinions on Fallout 76, so it's the DLC can do little more. So
Okay.
next up,
Moving on.
it's Sunland, which looks quite interesting. It's based on an
No, you skipped 30. You skipped 30, didn't you?
I did not. Did I?
Oh, yeah, you did. You went from Fallout 76 to Soundland. It's like Minecraft doesn't exist.
Oh, it's yeah. I've lost I've lost in my line of sight. So yeah, there is a expansion for Minecraft Trails and Tales, which
No one cares about.
oh, to be honest, it's I mean
then-
Minecraft the game.
That's a good thing you passed the Blue Fox.
Did I?
Nobody cares about it anymore. It's just a game that.
I mean, to be honest, I've played it like years ago. I'm glad that the people who still play the game have something else to enjoy. But yeah, I mean, it's I'm not too big of a fan, so not many comments from my end.
For me personally, Minecraft should go in the star now. That like, it releases really good trailers for their games, but the game itself, I just wouldn't get it. I'd watch the trailer, but I wouldn't play the game. And I just feel like they could go in the direction of they could turn Minecraft into a TV series, and it would be really kind of cheesy. It would be cheesy, but it would be cool. I'd watch it. I wouldn't play a game, but I'd watch a Minecraft series potentially, depending if it was good.
It's I guess it has some potential, but I'm not too sure.
I'm not talking like they had voices or anything. I'm going with like I think they could do like comedy, like little tiny clips and stuff. I'd watch that. But no, okay. Moving on. 29.
In my list, I have Sunland. I don't know if you gentlemen have another list.
Yeah, that's correct.
All right.
Well, Sunland, it's based on a manga, which it's a little bit like Mad Max, but anime. And the game looks promising, I would say. It has some Mad Max, the video game vibes. So, you know, we didn't see too much. We saw a little bit of gameplay. There is a lot of exploration and a lot of combat. And the exploration looks quite interesting since you are, again, in one desert, which I now love after I've made that video. So, yeah, it looks interesting. I didn't read the manga, so I have no idea about the characters and the story, but well, it looks promising. Right, and next up is Dune Awakening, which is again another desert. I've not seen the movie, so I really have no opinion on the game. I must assume that well, people are waiting for it who have seen the movie and are fan of the franchise, but myself, I'm not, so I don't have a strong opinion either way. Looks well done, but I don't know if you two have something else to share about it.
I will share one thing and one thing only. I think if you make a video game, you have the potential of turning it into a movie. I don't think movies fit directly the same way when it comes to video games, because because when you turn a game into a movie, you can pretty much do what you like with it, as long as you follow the laws of the game, because they're all built for you. But when you turn a movie into a game, it comes weird because you've called it Dune Awakening. Somehow that has to follow the plot line of the movie, which is kind of a bit weird for me. So I'll leave it. I don't think movies adapted as video games are always a good thing. I worry about them every time I see them. They could be the best graphics in the world. I'm just always worried about them. Because yeah.
I agree with what both of you said. Movie-based games are not very good many times, and as someone who didn't watch the movie, I'm honestly not interested in it. And even if I did watch, knowing that movie-based games can most of the time be bad, I wouldn't play it.
Moving on to 27.
Right, and
Yep.
the last one perhaps I'll be reading after changing is NEVA, which looks very promising. It has the same vibe as the one that we discussed previously, the Sword of the Sea. So quite of an artistic game, quite of an experiment, very inspired artistically. I don't know if there's some screenshots or gameplay in the background as you can see, but it looks very beautiful. It reminds me of Greece, which I believe are the same developers, but I could be wrong. And again, I'm very looking for it. And usually these games are also quite short; they're like $20, so they're also quite easy to play. It's sometimes we have a hard time finding time to play bigger titles like Cyberpunk or Zelda, and sometimes we need smaller games that are more, well, yeah, they tell us briefer story that stays with you for longer. So yeah, it looks quite promising.
I've noticed NEVA, you've marked it down as a 2 and a 2. Is it a game that you're likely to play and feature on your channel?
Could be. It is on my course, but well, I do want to see more about it, and well, it's. I mean, I'm not
Then
buying it in the first day one, but I'll keep an eye on it.
All right.
Okay. All right.
All right. Keep
Moving on
Yep, keep going,
to 26. I'm going to say 26. Dragon's Dogma 2. I don't know what Dragon's Dogma is, but I know that it's a really big name in the franchise. Kamazoid, you know Dragon's Dogma, don't you?
Honestly, no. I haven't played the first game, but I heard a lot about it. I heard that many people consider it as one of the best games ever made, and so many people are excited for the second game. I saw the trailer, and to be fair, the trailer was good, but it did not catch my attention to like, oh, this is a must buy for me. I want to play this game so hard. It looked interesting, but it's not something
I
that
think
I would like.
I think there's an improvement from Dragon's Dogma to Dragon's Dogma 2. There is definitely, they're trying to push it out. They're making it work. They're making it a better game than the original. I'm excited for what they're trying to push out.
What?
I don't know if it's exactly quite me just yet, but it's doing the same thing for me that The Witcher did with The Witcher 2, is slightly, without changing the core of the game, just make it more expandable so more people hear about it and play
The thing
it.
with Dragon's Dogma is that the first title, for at least, everybody says that it's a very good RPG. So like the role-playing element of the game is extremely detailed and extremely well done. But the game itself is less fun to play. Let's say, it's not quite dynamic. It's a bit rough on the corners. It's just it's nice the idea of the game, but actually playing it, you really have to devote yourself to it. If you play more action adventure games or modern games, going back to Dragon's Dogma, it's a bit challenging. So I really hope that this title can
You've
make the title a bit more playable for the casual players, or at the very least, people who are not
you've
familiar with the franchise.
All
you've
right.
played the original, haven't
I
you?
have not, but again, I've heard quite positive comments as Kamizoid.
From what I've heard about it, or from what I've seen about it, I feel like it's a monster battling game where you're the majority of this is battling monsters. I don't know if that's true or not, but that's what I see it when I click on the game. I keep seeing them battling different monsters. So I don't know if that's the thing about the game, but if it is, then it is the full thing just a list of like, is the full game just boss battles?
I think it's more similar,
I
perhaps, to The Witcher.
Is it
Contracts where you fight a lot of monsters, but there's also the RPG element to it. So it's not Monster Hunter.
okay? All right, because like I always get a bit of a thing about Monster Hunter games. All right, moving on to Frostpunk 2, because I absolutely love Frostpunk 2. It's a great game. I've seen a lot of gameplay of it. I've never actually been inside. I've never actually played it properly, but I've seen a lot of other people play it, and I always enjoy watching it. It's an end of the world game, and there's only one thing. See, it's a good game. That's why it gets higher than a lot of the others. But it has one problem with it for me. And here's the problem. I'll say it right now. Is it is Frostpunk 1, was that like just a hit wonder? Was it a one hit wonder? Because if it is, obviously Frostpunk 2, is it going to hit the same marks as the original Frostpunk?
That's a question that, of course, I don't think we can answer in this podcast, but
we can't know.
But I mean, if the developers know what they're doing, I think they can enhance the game. From my understanding, the first one was very loved, but it was also quite limited. So perhaps if they remove some of the limitations without making the game too big that it's a bit of a hassle to play, then it could get something good out of it. But if it's a bit of more of the same, then yeah, perhaps the charm of the first game, it's not going to be met. But let's stay hopeful.
So the next game on the list is Forza MotorFest. I'm not quite sure if this is an actual particular game or this is like a festival within a game, but I put it down there anyway because it was part of the announcement. So, who's excited for Forza MotorFest?
I really have no comment.
No. Okay. Yeah, basically, just to give you a bit of a line, it's a MotorFest within Forza that I think you get to play as different. I think they're adding a few extra cars into it. It looks cool. I'm not quite sure where that sits and stands, but like, that's just a bit of info. We're gonna move on. Oh no, it's not. It's not Forza. It's Crew MotorFest. My bad. I apologize. Forza, you're not in this one. That's Crew.
It's a Ubisoft game, even better.
It's a Ubisoft MotorFest. Yeah, it's available on the September the 14th. And yeah, it's Crew MotorFest. It looks really cool. It's a driving game. It's whatever you think about it, really. I like the look of it, but I don't know if it's my style. Anyway, moving on to number 23, and this is probably one of the first games that I was like, okay, I actually quite like the look of it. It's not something that I'm not 100% sure if I would get it or play it or put it on my channel, but it's not something I wouldn't retin out altogether as well. So it's Clockworks, and it's a time-altering traveling game.
I think,
Any ideas from you guys? Anything?
I think it's
That's a lot of vibes.
it's a shooter, right? I think it's an FPS game. Then from the trailer, it gives me a lot of vibes of Bioshock Infinite. That's why I
get Bioshock Infinite. Yeah,
it reminds me
I get
a lot of
Bioshock.
that aesthetics, especially maybe it's a bit more steampunk than Bioshock. Bioshock was more like the 20s, and said that this one looks more like the 1880s, but still it's the same gameplay style of like first-person shooter, but also like exploration and whatnot, like Half-Life. So it could be very interesting. The graphics and the location looks quite astonishing, very inspired, but the gameplay is what can break or make the game. So,
as far as I'm aware, it's Clockworks. It's basically there's a bit of time alteration in it, but what it really is saying, it's like saying, right, this game is made out of like this game's based in the future. It's made out of like there are different robots in it, and the whole game you're in a city full of automated robots, and the question is if one of those clogs get messed up or they get hacked or something, or just something changes within that system, how bad can it get from one small piece of problem? And obviously the game shows you that everything could get really, really bad. So yeah, moving on to some more interesting games now. Okay, let's start talking about some actual good stuff for a change. Avatar: Frontier of Pandora. Thoughts?
I have negative thoughts.
Negative thoughts. Let's hear them.
Oh,
Well, I'll let Kamizoid speak first.
all right. So for me, okay, so we'll save you for last, Blue Fox, since you're gonna go negative. I don't have a lot to say about this game. I don't see it as being a very
movie
huge
game.
I don't think it's a major
Movie game.
success for Ubisoft because this is Ubisoft that's making the game, and I don't know. Sure, the trailer they showed was really good. The game was good, but for nowadays, I don't
Movie game.
believe believe that it's gonna be a good game because it has a good trailer, and since since this is Ubisoft, I hope that this game turns out to be good. But I don't know. I'm not interested, honestly. So I do not have high hopes for this game.
Just to place where my thoughts are with this game. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm not sure if you've ever done this. This is the only time I've ever done this. All right, by the way, yep. Okay. I love collecting games, good games. I love putting games on a shelf and going, you played that once and all that kind of stuff. The last time they did an Avatar game, yeah, which was probably around 2007 because it was ages ago. So this game could generally be better, and that'd be awesome. But Avatar, I've a history with Avatar because it's the only game that I played, and then after I was done with the disc, I put it in the bin.
Oh, so it's like you played
That's where I stand.
once enough. You play it only once and never again.
I played once. It was really bad. The ending was awful, and I was like, no, I'm done with this.
Yeah.
And then I didn't. I don't think I fully completed it. I got to the last level, and I don't think I completed it. I don't remember if I completed it. I can't remember.
Okay.
It was just that.
All right.
And then it went in the bin.
So now, what about you, Blue Fox?
Blue Fox?
Let's hear you.
Well, the thing is that for what's, I mean, it is a movie game, so that's already a bit of a red flag. But a movie which I didn't enjoy. I saw the first Avatar movie and I didn't like it, so I didn't watch the second one. So that's a premise, but that's personal. It's of course it's one of the best sold movies, so other people liked it. But the thing that I'm most worried about is that it's a Far Cry game. It's you've seen the gameplay. It's basically a Far Cry game, and the last Far Cry 6, it was very dull. So it's I'm a bit afraid that it's they're trying to mix elements from the movie and elements from the Far Cry series, and together they already don't sound quite right. And from the gameplay, it really didn't convince me. I see this alien that is both climbing trees and then just takes a rifle and shoots. Something tells me, then there's like, you need to liberate places. So then you have to fight the robots and you have to liberate like 200 military outposts there. And then you have played other Ubisoft games. Come on, you already know the gist. And with the aesthetic, it looks nice. I'll give it that. But apart from it, I'm not sold.
Yeah, and right now I'm even more disappointed. I'm no longer even interested in this game. I hope it turns out good, but after what you said, I can really see it being repetitive. If it can have if it is a bit inspired or it has some of the same mechanics from Far Cry, I can see that this game can be a little bit repetitive with perhaps some outposts taken by humans, and you have to fight them and eliminate all humans and all robots and take back that outpost. So yeah.
I mean, I wish not to be right, of course. I wish that the game is nice. Don't get me wrong, but this is my position currently.
All right, so moving on with the movie game. All right, something better. Cyberpunk DLC at 21.
Okay.
The DLC of Cyberpunk.
Take it from here.
Can I? Sorry, may I?
Sure. Go ahead.
Yep, go for it.
Okay.
Oh no, I was gonna say my favorite part of the Cyberpunk announcement, and don't get me wrong, it's why I gave it a 4 and a 4 instead of a 5 and a 5. And I don't know where you stand with this, Blue Fox, but this is the best part of the whole trailer. You ready for it?
Say it.
Keanu Reeves' announcements was the best thing of anyone who announced anything. Keanu Reeves owned the slot that he had. That was my favorite part of the Cyberpunk DLC. That was it.
Of course.
Well, I mean, I don't have any opinions because I didn't play Cyberpunk. So yeah.
Would I buy it just because Keanu Reeves just mentioned it? Yes.
Guys, something else. But to speak more on the DLC, I'm really excited for the DLC. It's not just by the fact that you have Keanu Reeves and Idris Elba in this DLC storyline, two of the most.
Oh yes, Idris Elba,
my favorite action movie actors, and plus Cyberpunk has been out for almost like 2 or 3 years now, so it's got a lot of updates and a lot of fixes. Plus the launch update that fixed a lot of problems, and the developers said that that the expansion is going to fix many of the major problems. And nowadays, I see a lot of people talking that Cyberpunk is now one of the an incredible game and encouraging a lot of people to play it. So Cyberpunk did not have a very good start. Well, actually, but nowadays it's turning out to be an incredible game, and I'm really interested to playing it and playing the DLC because now I see that Cyberpunk is becoming the game that it should have been ever since its release. So I'm very interested, excited to try out the DLC. How about you guys?
You know what? You know, my only issue with Cyberpunk, and honestly, and if I, and I absolutely love the game. But I always wished it was going to be third person, but because I didn't get that, it's always going to be a bit of an issue for me because I always feel like it should have been third person. There should be an option for it in the game, especially with the character designing. Like, I feel like I just want to see my character's face every now and again because I've designed my character's face. It looks beautiful. But no, if that's not the case, then generally I'm just happy with it. And to be fair, in that game, I'm generally going to be in a situation like you just get to generally be in a situation in Cyberpunk where you just get to be standing in the same room as Idris Elba and Keanu Reeves. I mean, who doesn't want that?
What about you, Blue Fox?
Blue Fox?
Well,
do you want that?
I didn't play.
Do you want to be standing in a room with Idris Elba in your life? Like, come on, you can't say no.
Well,
to that.
I can say no to that, but I can say that I have not played Cyberpunk, so I mean I don't feel any particular way for the DLC, so I have no comments.
All right.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Okay. We need Idris Elba in this podcast at some point.
Exactly.
Right, moving on. Like a Dragon at number 20. The trailer was amazing. Loved the trailer for that. I'm not going to go too much into some of these because I do want to get to more of the top 16 rated games. But if you watch the trailer, it's a naked man walking on the beach.
That's one of my most wanted games. Not for that reason, but
that is hit the best trailer of all the trailers. This like that's the trailer we watched the most.
You both know that I'm a very big Yakuza guy, so of course I'm looking forward for this title. Although I still need to play the 7 one, so it will be a while since I will play this one, but still it looks promising. So for all the Yakuza fans out there, here we go.
We can expect to see that on your channel at some point, right?
All right.
Okay, you want to see more Yakuza stuff? Check out Blue Fox's channel. It's absolutely it's a great game. It's a great game. Number 19, Witchfire. I don't know what Witchfire is. Blue Fox. Witchfire.
Yeah, it's a first-person shooter. It reminds me a little bit of Call of Juarez in the action arcade style, and yeah, looks quite fun. It's I really don't have anything else to say. It looks a blast to play. It looks very fun gameplay. I don't know about the story or the graphics or whatnot, but yeah, it looks quite frenetic as a game, like Doom. So yeah.
Okay.
I'm not interested in it.
Moving on to 18, Life of P. No, okay.
Lies of P.
Blue Fox, any words on Life of P?
I'll let the expert speak for that one.
All right.
Go for it.
Fair enough. Okay, so Lies of P. I did play the demo. Now, first off, aesthetically and the environment of the game really looks incredible. It's the environment in this game and the world. It really looks phenomenal, and I consider it to be very beautiful. And in terms of gameplay, it's very similar to the Souls games in terms of gameplay, a little bit similar to Bloodborne. But my only bad opinion on this game and my only gripe is that the gameplay feels slow. It's a little janky. It's a little clanky. It feels slow. It's not as fast as like in Bloodborne or Elden Ring or any of the From Software games. It's not very fast, so the enemies feel slow and janky. But then again, maybe it's because you're fighting robots, but still. And the movement feels a little slow. But then this is still a demo, so I hope that in the actual game it's a little bit faster. But still, after playing the demo, I really enjoyed it a lot. I feel like this game can really be incredible on something else because it really looks so good. And there are many gameplay mechanics that I really loved in the demo, and I feel like that it's gonna be really incredible in the full game. So I'm really excited for it.
All right, moving on to the next game, Mortal Kombat 1.
Okay.
Mortal Kombat game.
Want me to take this one?
I don't really know what
All right.
Go for
Sorry to cut you off first, but Mortal Kombat 1. To be fair, I'm I'm on both sides, excited and not excited on this game because it feels like each and every new installment of Mortal Kombat looks very good, looks very brutal, but it lacks a lot of stuff because to me, I still consider Mortal Kombat 9 is one of the greatest fighting games to ever exist because of the many options and the many game mods and the many characters within that game, and the fact that you can play, you have tag team fights, yeah, two players versus two players. So there are a lot of mods. But the further we go with new Mortal Kombat games, for some reason, NetherRealm, the creators, instead of adding more mods, they actually take them out. So on the new Mortal Kombat games, they eliminated and got rid of a lot of mods. So I'm a little bit skeptical about this new Mortal Kombat game. Sure, they introduced these cameo mode, or which you have like a fighter that helps you out and continues your combos and stuff. But I'm not really excited about the game because it feels like the same as Mortal Kombat 11 with just new elements and new tweaks and the fighting mechanics. It's not like they're adding new mods or anything. And nowadays, fighting games are just for me they are more of like a cash grab because the game releases with few characters, and then they continue the hype of these fighting games with introducing new characters and DLC characters. So the only thing that's actually getting me excited for Mortal Kombat 1 is to see the guest DLC characters. There already has been a lot of talks that I don't know if any of you guys heard about this, but for Mortal
Mm.
Kombat 1, it's said that some of the guest DLC characters are going to be Peacemaker. There's also Omni Man, and from the boys, forgot his name. But anyway, these three characters are gonna be guest DLC characters in Mortal Kombat 1. And this is from my personal view. But anybody who really wants to play Mortal Kombat 1, I'll tell you to wait for everything to be released, all the characters to be out, and all the stages, basically all the DLC to be out, and then purchase the full game. That way you can enjoy it fully. So don't fall into buying this game with only 18 characters, and then you have to buy the DLC pack number one with 5 new characters, and then do the same, whatever. So I'm a little bit skeptical about Mortal Kombat 1. I hope and I pray that they bring back many of the mods that they removed, like Test Your Luck, Test Your Might. There's a lot of incredible mods that from previous Mortal Kombat games that they for some reason they removed. I hope they bring them back. But I don't know. So for anybody who wants to play Mortal Kombat 1, wait until the whole game releases. All the DLC fighters, all the stages, all the story DLCs and everything. Wait for all of that to release and then fully buy the game. So that's what I got to say on Mortal Kombat 1. I don't know if you guys have anything to say.
Wow. The only thing that I'm going to mention before we move on to the next game, because we need to just speed this up a little bit. Mortal Kombat 1 is for me is the game that invented the word fight, and that caused me many issues growing up because that. Okay, not moving into that. Right. Moving on to the next section. Phantom Blade Zero.
This game looks very nice,
Yes.
in my opinion.
Phantom Blade Zero. That's our first our top highlighted game, because we've actually got a score of number 1 in this particular game. So what's that game about? Is that
no,
Dark Souls?
Not much, but from the trailer, it gives a lot of vibes of Sekiro. Sekiro Shadows Die Twice. Again, it's one of the games created by the From Software creators, but the way the game looks is so unique, and the gameplay. Now, to be fair, the trailer they showed, I don't know if it's a story-based trailer or CGI or cinematic trailer or a gameplay trailer, because to be fair, if that's how the gameplay works in that game, it looks incredible. It really looks unique. It gives off many different vibes from the many other games that they shown. It gives me the vibes of Sekiro Shadows Die Twice, and I really love that game a lot. what's so interesting about the game is just it feels like it's something new, something that we've never seen before. That's what got me excited for this game, and it really looks good.
I
Yeah,
loved it.
Max.
I've loved the
I
look of
must fully
this.
agree with what Kamisot has said. It looks very promising.
Yeah.
It looks very artistically inspired because we can imagine there are many games set in feudal Japan and they all look quite similar. Between Ghost of Tsushima, Sekiro, Neon. They yes, they look very nice, but sometimes it's a bit hard to distinguish in them. This one really has its own aesthetics. It's black and white. It's with all the red coming out. It's quite contrasting. And again, the gameplay looks very fluid. I don't want to say it, but perhaps too good to be true. So as Kamisot has mentioned, we're not too sure if that was gameplay, like pure gameplay, or a bit of semantics inside. Because otherwise, it looks extremely promising. That could revolutionize how we see action adventure games. But regardless, it's a very good game. And hey, who doesn't like samurais? So I think it deserves to be praised in this podcast.
I agree. Moving on to the next. By the way, just before I move on, I'd say yeah, I completely agree. When games release trailers, you've always got to know that they always show their best sides. So always expecting the best. But from what that looks like a lot of gameplay to me. So I can see where you both coming from. So all right, moving on to the next game, which is Phasmophobia at 15. We're getting into the top 15 now. It's getting exciting. Top 15, we've got Phasmophobia. In case you don't know what Phasmophobia is, it is a ghost hunting game where you've got to hunt the correct ghost. The reason I'm mentioning it is not because it's a new game, but because it's new for consoles. You get to play it now on Xbox. I think it's coming on PlayStation. I can't be confirmed on that, but yeah, from what I can see, it's coming out. I'll just check. PlayStation. Is it coming out on PlayStation? I can't confirm, but it definitely is coming out on Xbox. So yeah, I like it. It's coming out on a console. You can play with your friends online on your favorite console. Love that. It's great. Definitely check the trailer out. Moving on to the next game, we're going to go to Pikmin 4 next at 14. Blue Fox, you gave it a score of 3.
Yes.
So you marked it as yellow. So what's your
it is one of my most wanted in this Summer Game Festival. It looks extremely promising. It's not a game that was announced now. It was announced, I believe, like in the last Nintendo Direct, like 3 months ago. But we got to see a bit more of the game, and it looks extremely promising. Pikmin is one of the best RTS that I've played. It's easy to play and hard to master. So it really gives a challenge to everybody. And I think the changes that they've made, or the improvements, that you can play also at night. You can play with different characters and whatnot. Looks quite nice. It's and one thing that I must say that I wanted to say before, but I forgot, is that the game will also have a free demo to play. And I think this is quite important because for games like Lies of P, that was a game that I didn't really care too much about. But since it had a free demo, I had the ability to try it. And since I try it, now I'm a bit more hyped about that game. And the demo from Pikmin 4 will be dropping in next week, I believe. And that will give the players a possibility to try out the game, or at least a small portion of it, and to judge for themselves if the game is for them or not. So I really admire when video game developers do this, to release a free demo for the players to play and judge for themselves, rather than to sell like an empty trailer and say, "Oh, trust us, this is the game," because we have seen how that can go wrong sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah, I love the look of it. It looks very cartoon. As far as I'm aware, it's got that lovely little interesting vibe sense. I love it. It looks beautiful. It's got a very for me, when I'm looking at it, it's got a bit of a cute factor in it. And for a Nintendo game, I think that's very, very nice. It's a very cute, very friendly feel. I love it. Definitely worth a shot. If you haven't played it, check out the trailer. It's really cool. Moving on to the next game, which is Assassin's Creed Mirage. I could talk about this for ages. I think we could all talk about this for ages on where we stand on this game. I'm glad it's going into Assassin's Creed feel. Blue Fox, you gave it a score of a 4. Could you just sum it up in a few short words on what you're feeling on this?
I give it a very high score in comparison to say how much the people want this game and how much the others are liking it. Myself, I do enjoy the change of pace that they have taken with the franchise, or if you want, like going back to the roots. But it is still a Ubisoft game, so I'll take it with a pinch of salt. I'll be careful. I'm not putting my hype up, but it looks promising. I'll say that it looks that the RPG elements they're all gone, and now it's more of an action game as it's supposed to be. The location of Baghdad of the 15th century looks very beautiful. Again, another desert game. It seems to be a theme in the Summer Game Festival. And yes, it looks quite nice. So I think everybody's expecting to have a great game. I'm doubtful that it's going to be an amazing game, but it's going to be a fun game nonetheless. So yes, I'm hoping that the game can finally clean up the name of Assassin's Creed, which has been a bit rusting
Yep,
in these
you
past
said
few
it.
years.
I love the fact that when I'm watching the trailer, it just feels like it's going back to
Exactly.
its old roots. That's all I've got to say to it. I will probably do a better longer video later on, but I just like the fact that I'm seeing it going back to its original roots. It's so good game. Well done. Good job. Applause. All right, moving on to the next game, Sensu Sega HELLBLADE 2
Well, it's
over to
not
Camazoid.
exactly pronounced like
Go for
like
it.
that, but it's pronounced Suna Saga Hellblade 2. But I played the first game, Suna's Blade, and it was really incredible game. I loved it a lot. I loved the first game a lot. It is very different from many other games, and I encourage you guys to try it out. In terms of gameplay, it's a little bit similar to the God of War style of gameplay. Very easy to master and very fun. In terms of story, the story is a bit complicated and hard to understand, but the way they tell this story and the way they show the character, how the character is suffering in this world, and the world within where this character lives and fights and stuff, it's very interesting, very unique, and very well designed. It's probably one of my favorite indie games that I've played, and I've seen that in the sequel they are doing something big. They want to make this game much basically from an indie game to a AAA game. So they want to put everything. Now, sadly enough, we haven't seen the gameplay of the sequel. If they're gonna do something new in the gameplay or keep it the same. So far, the trailers that they have shown are cinematic. They haven't shown a release date for the game too. I'm still excited for it. I hope that they try out something new in terms of gameplay to change it up a bit. I want to see where the story goes because it ended in a unique way for the last game, and I just want to see more of it. I'm really excited for this game. Sadly, it's only an Xbox exclusive. It won't be released on PlayStation. So for any Xbox fans right there, this is a title that I think it's worth picking up because it's a really good game.
Right, I need to get on to the next game, but I need to ask you one more question just before we do that. Should
Yes.
people play the original before they play the
To
new
further
game? Yes or no?
understand on the story, you have to play the original to know the character, know what the character is going through, and know what type of game you're playing.
Okay, lovely. Moving on to number 11. We're getting so close to that top 10. So number 11 is Alan Wake. Oh, it's a nightmare, isn't it, Alan Wake? Oh, where do we start with Alan Wake? Camazoid, do you want to quickly take me through Alan Wake
so far
quickly?
from the trailers, it really got my attention. Looks decent in terms of graphics. The game looks really good. Now I gotta be fair here. I haven't played the first game, and I hear a lot about the first game being considered one of the best horror games. So I might consider trying that out. But on the second game, it got my attention because of the way how it looks and it's gonna put a lot of focus on horror and survival. So I'm really interested in trying it out. But before I buy it, I want to make sure to hear what the people think about it, whether it is a really good game or it's a normal survivor horror. Because the last survivor horror game that I was excited for was Callisto Protocol, and that game turned out to be horrible. So I hope it doesn't go the same for Alan Wake 2.
The issue with Alan Wake 2 for me personally, and I have played the original, and this is the only issue that I have with horror games, is that you can get them you can get them really good, and there's horrors and there's jump scares and there's some really good stuff inside them. But the issue with things like Alan Wake that I get is when you start out in the game, you get that fear intense at the beginning, but the more you play the game and the further down the game you get, the less that occurs, and it then turns into more of which I find very disappointing. It turns into that gun shooter feel. So I don't want to put you off or say don't play the game. I'm just saying just be careful if you play a horror game. Just maybe check out some reviews on it, because it's probably better checking out a review on a horror game before you actually get straight into it, because you might play it and it just might turn out completely bad because of all the things that I get the same as Callisto Protocol. Anyway, moving on to number 10, Fable. Absolutely love it. I love watching the trailer for this. It was super cool. For anyone who doesn't know that much about Fable, it's British humor, and with British humor and all that kind of concept, you're either you really love British humor, which is based on word comedy and stupid stuff, or you can just completely hate British humor. And you're either one side of the fence or the other. So you normally get a divide of ones or fives with this type of thing. So you really love it, really hate it. It's Marmite as a video game. That's all it is.
I've heard one description of Fable as to be the Saints Row of medieval fantasy games. Would you agree with that, Seb?
I don't think so. I don't think it would be the medieval fantasy games. I disagree with that statement. It's a comedy mick take out of fantasy games. It is you get to play as a king. Or you get to play as a leader, or you get to play as some kind of hero in some kind of format, and you make choices, and the choices that you make, unlike certain other video games, actually affect the world around you. So there'll be a thing of like, okay, so this is a thing in Fable 2, yeah? You have a mission to save a farm area. You wouldn't recognize it as an important mission. It wouldn't be anything majorly to you at the point in the game. It'd just be like a side quest. It'd be like, oh, help me save the farm from monsters. And be like, oh, okay. You might want to do that. You can't be bothered. But if you but what you find out later on in the game, yeah, if you save the farm, yeah, in the future it looks beautiful, it looks prospectful, and you can actually buy stuff at the farm. If you don't save the farm at that point in the game, the actual monsters take over, and you'll find at the end of the game that actually that if you walk in that area, it's filled with monsters and creepy stuff. It's all about choices and how the choices affect the world around you, and that's what the game is. But it's also a massive mixtape of certain things, because it's all British humor. Everything's just a joke. There's a lot of jokes in it. So no, I'd say if you're talking about like medieval stuff like that, I wouldn't say that's a medieval game. No, nowhere near. Fantasy medieval, I would put Dragon Age would probably be the top there with The Witcher, but I wouldn't put that game there. That's it's born to be a hero. Anyway, moving on to the next game. At number 9, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater. Where do we start with this one?
Where do we start? That's a good question.
Can I mention how funny the trailer was for that video game? Where
sorry to cut you off.
There's a snake battle.
Exactly a trailer, but more of a teaser to bring the confirmation of the game. I'm a huge fan of the Metal Gear Solid games. Now, to be fair, I haven't played them all. I played the 4th and the 5th game, and the 5th game is one of my favorite. But my brother is also a huge fan of the series, and he played all of the games, and I watched him while he was playing all of the games. And the 3rd game is considered one of the greatest of all time, and one of Kojima's greatest games. And after watching my brother playing it and watching some of the videos on it, I do see that Metal Gear Solid 3 is a phenomenal and incredible game. And I do have a lot of high hopes and excitement for the remake. But the one thing that I hope that they do not mess up is that for Konami to just remake this game and change nothing. And if they actually do that, then it's going to be a phenomenal game again. Because if they do change some cutscenes or remove some cutscenes, change some elements and stuff, then it's gonna piss off a lot of people, including me. Because that game, from start to finish, it's really good. Sure, it has its moments. It's, like example, spoiler for anybody who doesn't know about this part in the game. There's a ladder section that is quite long to finish, and I really hope that it stays in the remake. So yeah, I'm really excited for this game. I'm really excited to try out Metal Gear Solid 3 again. Well, to play it for the first time as a remake. And really hope that the company does not mess it up, because Konami's reputation has dropped a lot. And I hope that they do a good job on remaking this game.
Yeah, it's something I fully agree with. I am not too big of a Metal Gear Solid fan. Like, I did not play the games, but I always admire them. And I think this will be a very good opportunity for myself to join the franchise, because the third title, from my understanding, is one of the best. But of course, it was one of the oldest in comparison to the fourth and fifth. So then, it's nice that they are remaking it. We don't know how.
Yeah,
Hopefully,
exactly,
they
yeah.
do upgrade the gameplay, because of course it was a PlayStation 3 game. So it's hopefully they make it a bit fresher. But if they do, then there is no reason for me to say no anymore. No more excuses.
You know what? I absolutely love the trailer. I haven't actually played the game, so I'm just, from what I can tell, it's all what you guys tell me. But from what I've heard about Metal Gear Solid,
Yep.
it is one of the biggest franchises of gaming out there. So whatever you do to that game, it just generally it takes a big effect on gamers, because we all respect and honor that game, whether you play that game or not. You just honor and respect it. So yeah. Gonna move on to number 8. Lewis would kill me if I didn't mention this, but also at the same time, I'm just going to be very clear. This game deserves its own video. Payday 3 comes at number 8. I am absolutely fine with that. That it's a very good game. It was at one point, I think it was at number 2 spot at one point, but I think it was at number 1 spot at some point. But as more people voted for it, it seemed to get the number 8 spot. So I'm glad it's in the top 10. I'm absolutely looking forward to it. It's one of the games that I'm generally going to get. It's on Game Pass. It's coming out on Game Pass, so you can actually play this game for free. So if you're a big fan of the original, which I'm a massive fan of the original, I will give a proper dedication video out to this. But I'm so excited to see what this game's like. And the fact that they're making it so it's on the newer consoles, super exciting. I can't wait for that game to get released. Gonna move on to the next game.
I do
Blue
have
Fox,
something to say about Payday 3.
Go for it. Yeah,
It's
love to hear
I
it.
think Payday 2 is one of the games that I think, objectively speaking, it's bad, or like it's mediocre, but I really enjoyed it.
Really?
Like it's
Lewis
a game that structurally it's not too well done. Like, there are many flaws of the game, and there are way too
Okay.
many DLCs. It's crazy. It's really it's unsustainable. It's you have to spend like 200 euros if you want to play the full game, if not even more. There's even microtransactions, so it's that I cannot forgive. And again,
You do realize Lewis will kill you,
no,
right?
but it's the truth. It's objectively speaking, the game it's okay at best, but it's mediocre. But it's a game that I really enjoyed. I really played a lot of it. So Payday 3, I think it's gonna be a bit of a similar experience. Quality wise, I'm a bit skeptic, but it could be a very fun game to play. It's very co-op based, and the co-op game, you're robbing banks with your friends. That's something that has a very good premise to play with friends. So it's very fun. But quality wise, they do have to improve a lot of things from Payday 2. So I would be watching out for this game.
I love Payday 2 to bits. I'm super excited for Payday 3 because it feels like they're adding stuff and more. But I'll also leave it on like, yeah, if it does upgrades and all that kind of stuff, it's just gonna be better. And yeah, it is, a lot of it is based around it's a lot more enjoyable when you're doing it with your friends, which is what you want to play that game as doing anyway. JUSANT next on the list. JUSANT, who likes wall climbing up a wall?
It looks very, very interesting. It's in those games that we mentioned previously, like NEVA and the Sword of the Sea. It's very artistic.
Yeah.
Maybe the gameplay itself is not too complex, but again, just looking at the game, you really diving into a world of wonder, and that's things that games can do. So it's if it's an
Yeah.
indie game that's not too expensive, that is not too long, that allows you to have this breeze of fresh air, then pun intended. Then yes, I'm willing to give it a shot, and it's up high up on my list.
I like the look of it. I think it looks brilliant. I haven't seen a game concept like it before, as well as it is being made. It's free roam, but wall climbing free roam. Like, it's open world wall climbing free roam on a wall. The game's vertical. How is that not a good thing? I love it to pieces. I wish that all the best of luck. I will definitely be getting that game because I love things that do think outside the box and do something different. So definitely going for that. Moving on to, I'm going to skip. I'm going to quickly talk about number 6 and number 5, but then we're going to move on to number 4 really quickly. So we got Super Sonic. Oh, awesome! Love that game. I love Sonic as a character in a video game. Blue Fox, in less than 20 words, how can you sum that game up?
Less than 20 words.
Yeah, go for it. Challenge.
The game is promising, but Sonic
Yeah.
may make mistakes. If it is like Sonic Mania, I would be happy.
Now, that is a solid point.
If those are 20 words.
That is
Hopefully
a
they
solid
are.
point right there.
That's brilliant. Well, yeah, that's 20 words. Moving on to City Skylines. It's a city builder. It's an improvement upon what the original game was. Again, it's very Marmite. You either love city builders or you hate city builders. It's basically, it's coming out of the same of exactly what Payday 3 was. If it's good and it hits those marks, then awesome. The original game, I absolutely love the original game. I don't know if you're not a fan of the original game, obviously you may not be interested in number 2, but if you are, if it's your type of thing, which is definitely my type of thing, I can't wait for this game to come out. It's a game that I'm definitely getting on release date. Blue Fox, you gave it a 2 and a 4 and confused on this one, so you're anticipated about it.
Well, I'm anticipated in the sense that I think it's going to be a very high quality game because the first one was.
Okay, that's cool.
But I'm not too big into city builders, so myself, I will not buy it. But I admire the quality of the game, so for that reason.
Okay, there you go. So that's something that I was always interested in why you could score that. But yeah, again, the game looks great. No matter what, the game just looks great. So whether you're whether you play it or not, or whether you're interested in it, that's completely up to you. But the game, outstanding, looks great. Moving on to number 4, and then we'll get down to the top 3 afterwards. So this is exciting. So finally, number 4, we've got Star Wars Outlaw.
Well,
Ooh,
a lot of opinions about the game, but I will not be the first one.
Oh, I've got some big things about this game.
I'll let you guys speak first. I already spoke too much.
Open world Star Wars Outlaw. Love it. I love the concept of this. Whether it sells, whether it does what it says on the tin, completely optional. How good the quality is. You need to play the game to find out. I need to wait to release date to actually get into the game. But the game itself looks somewhat. I really want to play it at some point. Yeah. Camazoid, with you?
Well, at least let me say this. If it is an actual Star Wars open world and stuff, I hope that the worlds are actually full of stuff to do and full of people, full of things. You know, I really hate the open. They say I really hate open world games where the world feels empty and it has nothing to do. So I hope they don't make that mistake. And again, this is Ubisoft making this title, so I have my doubts, but I hope it's a good game.
Okay. Blue Fox, go with it. Keep in mind, we've only got like 10 minutes left of this podcast, so just keep it nice, quick, and simple. All right, okay.
Right. So I'm a huge Star Wars fan at first, but I understand the concern of being at a Ubisoft game. So there is a bit of a contrast there. Very excited, but also very worried. From the trailer, that was a gameplay trailer, so it wasn't cinematic, I hope. It looks promising, and I do like the premise of it being a Star Wars game where you don't play as a Jedi or you don't play as a Stormtrooper, but you actually play as an outlaw, so that has a very good premise. I'm a bit worried about the monotony of the game. I really hope that it's not a classic Ubisoft game. Oh, there are 200 planets, have fun. I really hope that they do make more character development and more gameplay scenes rather than to just put a lot of things to do but monotonous. But still, very excited. Trailer looks promising, so I'm looking up for it.
Okay. You know what? I love Star Wars. My only issue on Star Wars is us as YouTubers. Really, that's my only issue with Star Wars. Star Wars has a lovely little opening soundtrack. And as you know, that soundtrack is actually copyrighted on YouTube. So it's very hard for us people as YouTubers to make videos on Star Wars. So just maybe change the licensing, please. Thank you. We'd love that. Moving on to Spider-Man 2 next. Also a Marvel game. Copyright issues. I hate copyright issues on video games. But Spider-Man 2, it is the top-rated game for Camazoid. You got a minute. You've got a minute to talk about this. Go for it.
Yes. The recent. All right, so let's keep this short. The recent trailer they released on Spider-Man 2 was incredibly phenomenal. The gameplay looks really good and looks really fresh. It adds some new things. Plus, the symbiote suit for Peter Parker Spider-Man looks incredible. The design for Kraven the Hunter looks phenomenal, and I'm really excited to see how his boss fight's gonna be. And within the game, you switch between Miles and Peter Parker Spider-Man, so that's gonna give lots of a variety in terms of gameplay. In the game. I'm also excited for the type of bosses and the story that's going to be in the game. One thing that I really hope that's going to happen is so far we have confirmation of some of the bosses within this game, which are Kraven the Hunter, Venom, and also the Serpent, which they showed on the latest gameplay trailer. And one thing that I really hope, which is drastically gonna be a major part in the story, since Peter is gonna have the symbiote in Spider-Man 2, which gonna change him a bit, makes him more ruthless, makes him a little bit vicious and villainous, I guess. So I really hope that within the game, within the story, there's gonna be a part where Miles and Peter get to have a fight, and Miles tries to save Peter from the symbiote and get him back to his senses and to him being the Spider-Man he's always meant to be. So I'm really excited for how the story is gonna be. The gameplay looks awesome. The villains within this game are much, in my opinion, better than in the first game. I'm really excited for it, and I hope that turns out to be a phenomenal game.
I love it. By the way, just in case anyone is unaware, and just to add on because he just mentioned it, Kraven the Hunter is getting his own movie, and I absolutely love the look of it. And I love the casting type. If you haven't seen the trailer for the actual movie of it, it's out now and it looks fucking awesome. So moving on to the next game, and you also have just about a minute. Super Mario Bros. Wonder Blue Fox. Why is this your number one? Because this is right at your top right now. This is the top of your list.
This is my top game, and it's wonderful, as the title says. It's a game that I was a bit worried about of a new Super Mario 2D World, because the new series, the new Super Mario Bros. Wii, DS, 2, Wii U, they all look a bit the same. So I was a bit wondering how they would revolutionize the franchise, and they did. They made the game so beautiful, so splendid. It looks like hand-drawn, even in the animation-wise, and it's all wacky in the sense that there are many things that you would not expect, but there are. So this wonderland of opportunities the game offers to the player, it's incredible. It's a Mario game. It's, of course, a 10 out of 10 for me at the beginning. And this one, it's looking to be an 11 out of 10 for how good it looks and the feeling and the improvements they've made. It's the trailer speaks to itself, to be honest. I have no words to summarize greatness.
Okay, I gave this quite a high score when I was looking at it, and this is my, but just from my opinion and my opinion personally, every time you watch that trailer, and I'm not sure if you get this, but you like it more, you like it more, you like it more. It's something that the Mario just does. It's like thing. It releases, you're like, okay, it looks okay, and then you watch it a second time. Actually, I like that feature, and then you like it more and more and more, and it's one of those type of video games. Okay, can we have a drum roll for number one? Kamazoy, can you give me a drum roll?
everybody knows what number one is gonna be. So come on.
Okay, we've all guessed already. Ladies and gentlemen, at number one spot, we've all voted it somewhat of a low score here and there. We're all slightly anticipated for this. We're all probably going to get this game because it is coming out on Xbox Game Pass. So if you have Xbox Game Pass, then you're probably going to get this. If you don't, it's still worth trying to get it somehow, shape, or another. But Starfield, absolutely awesome. I can't wait for this. I love Bethesda titles. Oh, and I've never got a limited edition. I'm probably going to go for I want to see if I can get a limited edition of this game. If I can't, I can't, but I do want to try. This game looks incredible, and I could give a whole video to this, but I'm not going to just yet because game's not out. But the 45 minutes that I've seen on the showcase,
The sole critique.
Just to put a bit of weight on it, the game itself is Microsoft's baby. It's everything relies on, like, Microsoft can pull off a very good Xbox gaming showcase next year, and people are going to be loving it if Starfield pulls off.
The only thing that didn't convince me too well, apart from like everything else that was great, the only nitpick that I do have is the shooting. The shooting of the game looks a bit rough, like Fallout Force. So it's not, of course, an FPS. It's an RPG, so it's understandable. But it's the only thing that I was looking at it and I said, they do need to improve it just slightly. But everything else just looks too good to be true. And we have seen it, not cinematic or promises. We have seen 1 hour of gameplay, so they're not hiding cards
Yeah,
here.
they really went. Sorry to cut you off, Blue Fox. They really went all out with this huge Starfield showcase. They really showed practically everything. Uh, I stand a little bit against what you said in terms of the shooting. I feel that the gameplay and the shooting feels all right. Feels pretty decent and looks good and looks fun. And everything else they showcased looks really interesting. They really did an incredible work with the showcase. They literally showed and talked about everything within this game. They're really, as someone who wasn't interested at Starfield at all at the beginning, after watching that huge showcase they did, I was really excited, and I was really looking at this game, saying like, this is probably gonna be Xbox's greatest title, and also Xbox's comeback title, to put it back in the image on the to basically give Xbox a really good game. So I really hope that Starfield is the game that they said it's going to be, and the game that we want it to be, because Bethesda titles don't always
I agree.
deliver, Seb. So you got to be careful on that. And I hope that Starfield lives up to the hype, because it really looks good, and the presentation made the game look incredible. But I don't know. What scares me is that the game is too big. It's too big, and it makes you ask this question: when this game releases, is it gonna be complete? And in terms of complete, I mean, like, are there gonna be glitches? Are there gonna be problems when loading the game? Are there gonna be problems with some stuff? Because the reason why I say this, the game is so big. We have 1,000 planets. If that, I still don't believe that. That I hope that there's gonna be they're going to have life and have many stuff to do in them. And from the presentation, the game seems so big with so many elements, so many stuff. Makes begs to ask that, is it going to work? Is everything going to work? Sure, they dropped the statement that the game is going to be 30 FPS in terms of quality, but still, is everything gonna go fine? Is this game not gonna require patches and fixes once it releases? Because so far nowadays, many game releases end up with many problems of glitches, bugs, and stuff. So I really hope for Starfield, if it comes out, I really hope that the game works. The one and most important thing is that the game works. No problem of bugs, no problem of crashes. If the game goes smooth, then it's already an incredible game. So that's my number one fear of Starfield, that the game is so big it might actually have a lot of problems when you launch it, when you launch the game, a lot of bugs and fixes, and then we're gonna go with the same crap that we went to, that Bethesda went through with Fallout 76. A lot of bugs and broken stuff, which led for the game to be completely destroyed by the internet. So I really hope for Starfield to be a really solid game, and also a game that actually works, because that's what's important for Bethesda to understand. They need to release a game that it actually functions and works day one. I don't want to wait 3 or 4 or 5 months until they release a major update that fixes a lot of issues. I want the game to work from day one so I can play it and enjoy it. So that's what I hope for Starfield. Starfield looks really incredible, really phenomenal, looks so big, but I hope that the game actually works when I actually buy it on day one. So that's my only that's my opinion on Starfield.
Okay, you know what? Yeah, and I agree. I absolutely hope that it works on day one as well. I can't wait to see exactly what I can't wait to see right now is our top 10 tier list to see if all these games play out by the end of the year. We'll be doing a top 10 tier rating at the end of the year, and we'll be reviewing some of these games that are actually released and all that kind of stuff, and seeing what we make of them or what we think about them, and seeing if this top 10 result, and seeing if Starfield remains to be at number one at the end of the year. Is it going to be? Have no idea yet, but yeah, time will only tell. Will Starfield remain at number one for all of us, or will something else take over? May Hogwarts Legacy get into the top 10 tier listing at the end of the year? Because that game's out. That game's had quite a good bit around it. So, Starfield does have a little bit of competition now. Can it remain at the top? Anyway, that again is the top. I'll just read out the top 10 for you before we end the podcast. We got Fable, Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, Payday 3, JUSANT, Sonic Superstars, City Skylines 2, Star Wars Outlaw, Spider-Man 2, Super Mario Bros. Wonder. Absolutely love that game. I can't wait. I want to see where that game leads at the end of the year. Could it take over Starfield? I hope it does. But also Starfield at number one slot. Loving it to pieces. And there you go. That's your top 10. Thanks so much for watching. I've been joined by Blue Fox.
Yes, thanks for having me once again, and I thank the audience for have heard the podcast so far. Thank you.
And we're glad that you're also back as well. And all the movements that you've had between now and then have also gone brilliantly and okay. Moving on lastly to Kamazoid. Kamazoid, thank you so much for being here as well.
Always a pleasure to be here and to discuss on some video games with you guys.
Love it. And that is the podcast pretty much over and out. We're going to give you a little bit of a message from Danny, who's just going to give us his download. But after that, the podcast will end. So thank you so much for watching. And I'll see you guys on another Jump Inside podcast. Thanks so much for watching, and goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Danny, hello. How are you doing?
I'm doing amazing, Seb. Thank you very much for having me again.
Brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Now, I know you can't make the actual podcast live, so I thought I'd just have a quick chat with you about a game that you're really excited about. So let's just have a little bit of a chat about it. So the first game that I've got noted down here is Payday 3. What makes you super excited for Payday 3?
I'm super excited for Payday 3 because, every time you go on Payday 3, it just gives you that amazing adrenaline when you go into the bank, you rob stuff, and you're part of your team. You four or you three are part of a team, and you can do everything. I just love Payday to my heart. I used to play it all the time. I play with a lot of friends, and ever since I heard that there's going to be Payday 3, I was instantly ecstatic that Payday 3 is coming out, because as you know, Seb, we haven't really heard much from the creators ever since a few months ago with that little teaser which you and me watched. And yeah, I'm just excited for it because I saw the trailer, and there's definitely going to be some new mechanics on how police works and stuff. I'm just really excited. I'm really wanting to play it.
Okay, Danny, the second game I've got on my list, and also I'm really excited for this game as well. I'm not quite sure what I think about this game, but you've written it down as number one. So the next game I've got on my list is Assassin's Creed Mirage. Why have you given that a 1?
I've given that a 1 because personally, I don't like a lot. I haven't really played a lot of Assassin's Creed. I mean, I've only played Valhalla and Syndicate, but like I know they're totally different games and like totally different concept. Like Valhalla is in like Vikings and Syndicate is like old London. But like I've played Unity, but I just never really got into it. But then I saw like Mirage, and it looked pretty decent, and like I liked how they've set it in that environment, and I think it's going to be a very good game. So that's why I've given it a 1.
Okay, and another game on the list is we've got Phasmophobia. So that's kind of got up there. That is the Xbox version specifically of why did you give Phasmophobia on Xbox also a number 1?
I will tell you why, because as you know, Phasmophobia is on PC. Not many of my friends have PCs, but a lot of my friends do have Xboxes. And personally, I've gotten more into like horror games, which does like, hold on, I've gotten more into horror games, which involves more people. Because like I don't really like playing horror games by myself, like Dead by Daylight, for an example. That's with your friends. And I know Phasmophobia makes you like scared sometimes, and I really want to see my friends' reaction when I play it with them. That's why I put it at number 1. And it's just going to be easier. A lot more people will be able to play it, and there's a lot more opportunity to meet new people. This is a really good game.
You know what? I absolutely agree. I think because PCs cost that money of $2,000 if you want to get a decent gaming PC, because you want to play every single game out there. As much as it's low quality and you can play it on lower budget PCs, when you're a gamer, you normally go for those higher up $1.5 grand PCs because you want to be able to play a lot of different type of games. Knowing that consoles can do that performance for a lot cheaper, it's much more satisfying to have a game that's of that quality to come out on a console, because you get more of your friends playing it. And generally, it's just it sounds like a really good idea of what they're pulling off there.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got to discuss number 1, the game at the first place, because you've marked the number first place game as number 1. Why have you given it a first place number 1? Why have you given it a number 1? Starfield.
Okay, so I'll give a number 1 to Starfield because, like, personally, I don't really play many space games. The only few space games I've played is Callisto Protocol and Dead Space. But you've been talking to me about Star Citizen, yeah?
Yep,
and
so much.
You've explained to me like how it's usually to scale and how you just fly around in space, do missions, and you've pretty much told me Starfield is almost the same thing. Not everything. Both games don't have the same thing, but they're pretty much the same concept. And as you know, Star Citizen is not coming out for a very long time. But the reason why I put Starfield as number 1 because it's coming out in a few months, and what you've been telling me about Star Citizen, it's going to be a really good game. I would like, instead of me having to wait ages to play Star Citizen, I can just play Starfield, which is almost the same game. And that's why I put it at number 1.
And to know that's coming out on console must make that even better, right?
Even better, yeah, because if I'm correct, Starfield is going to take a lot of good PC components to run. I mean, you're telling me Star Citizen is going to require really big components, which cost a lot of money, but it's coming out on Xbox Starfield, so I feel like it'll just become easier for all the gaming community.
Thank you, Danny. I really appreciated you being here, and I'm so sorry that you can't make the podcast live. But anyway, thank you so much for giving me those pieces of information. Again, I completely agree with you on all of them. I think they are all excellent ratings.